I'm sitting in a public library right now because it's warm and they don't kick you out if you look clean enough. I'm 78 years old, and at various points in my life, I had over $4 million in the bank. Today, I have $127 to my name, and I sleep in a 2004 Honda Civic. And before you make assumptions about what happened, drugs, gambling, some addiction, let me stop you right there. That's not my story. My story is worse. Because what happened to me can happen to anyone, including you. I need you to understand something before I continue. I'm not making this video for sympathy. I'm not asking for money. I'm making this because I see you out there, making the exact same choices I made, believing the exact same lies I believed, and I can't stay silent. Someone needs to tell you the truth about money, family, and what really matters, and it might as well be the guy who learned it the hardest way possible. My name is Robert, and 30 years ago, I was untouchable. I built a commercial real estate business from nothing. Started in 1981 with $15,000 I borrowed from my father-in-law, who, by the way, told me I'd fail within 6 months. By 1994, I had a portfolio worth $6.3 million. I had the house in the suburbs, the vacation property in Colorado, 2 Mercedes in the driveway, a wife, 2 kids. I was living the American dream. I was also living a lie. Here's what nobody tells you when you're building wealth. Money doesn't just change your bank account. It changes you. And not in the ways you think. You start believing you're smarter than everyone else. You start thinking the rules don't apply to you. You start measuring your worth by your net worth. And worst of all, you start treating people like investments. What's the return on this relationship? What's this person worth to me? I did this to everyone, including my own family. My son Michael wanted to be a teacher. And I told him, I actually said these words, teachers are for people who can't do anything else. I told him to get his MBA, join the family business, make real money. He was 22 years old, and I crushed his dream in one conversation because I thought my way was the only way. He became a teacher anyway, and I didn't speak to him for 3 years. 3 years. My own son, because he chose a $40,000 a year job over my empire. My daughter Sarah wanted me to walk her down the aisle in 1996. Her wedding was on May 18th. I had a deal closing on May 17th in Atlanta. A big one. $1.2 million commission. I told her I'd try to make it, but the meeting ran late and I missed my flight. I missed my daughter's wedding for a commission check that I don't even remember spending. She forgave me. Said she understood, but something broke that day. I see it now. I didn't see it then. My wife, Patricia, we'd been married 29 years. She tried to tell me. She'd say, Robert, you're never here. Even when you're here, you're not here. And I'd pat her hand and say, just a few more years, honey. Then we'll travel. Then we'll have time. Just a few more years. That's what I kept saying. A few more years turned into a decade. And one day in 2003, I came home to divorce papers on the kitchen table. I was furious. How dare she? After everything I'd provided, the house, the cars, the lifestyle, I'd given her everything. Except I hadn't. I'd given her things, not time, not attention, not presence, not me. But I still had my money. That's what I told myself. I had my business, my properties, my portfolio. I'd be fine. Then 2008 happened. You remember 2008? The financial crisis? I was heavily leveraged. That's a fancy way of saying I'd borrowed against everything I owned to buy more properties, to make more money, to prove I was the smartest guy in the room. When the market crashed, I didn't just lose some money. I lost everything. The properties went underwater. The banks called the loans. I tried to hold on, selling everything I could, but it was like trying to bail out the Titanic with a coffee cup. By 2010, I was bankrupt. Completely. The house, gone. The cars, gone. The vacation property, gone. At 62 years old, I had to start over with nothing. And here's the thing that broke me. I called my kids. After years of either fighting with them or barely speaking to them, I called and asked if I could stay with them, just temporarily. While I figured things out, Michael, the teacher I'd disrespected, he hesitated. His wife was pregnant with their second child. Their house was small, but I heard him start to say yes, and then I heard something in the background. My ex-wife, Patricia. She was there, and I heard her say he made his choices. Michael came back on the line. Dad, I don't think that's a good idea right now. Sarah didn't even answer my calls. This is what I need you to understand. You can't bank relationships for later. You can't make deposits of love and time after you've made withdrawals for decades. It doesn't work that way. I had spent 30 years putting money first, and when I lost the money, I discovered I had nothing else. No family who wanted me, no real friends, just business contacts who disappeared the moment I couldn't help their deals. No hobbies, no identity outside of successful businessman Robert. So what did I do? I tried to rebuild. I was 62, but I wasn't dead. I took a job as a sales associate at a car dealership. Then I got hired at a property management company. I scraped by, rented a studio apartment, drove a 15-year-old Corolla. I told myself I was being humble, learning lessons, starting fresh, but I was still doing the same thing, still chasing money, still believing that if I could just get back to where I was, everything would be okay. Still putting in 70-hour weeks at 65, 67, 70 years old. And then my health gave out. Heart problems, diabetes, arthritis so bad some mornings I can't make a fist. At 74, I couldn't work anymore. I applied for Social Security, which, by the way, I'd paid into for 50 years, and it gives me $473 a month. Try living on that. The studio apartment was $1,100 a month. After utilities, I had about $200 for food, medication, everything else. I couldn't afford my diabetes medication and food, so I started rationing both. Skipping doses, skipping meals. Then the landlord raised the rent to $1,350. I couldn't pay it. At 76 years old, I was evicted. I spent 6 months bouncing between shelters. Do you know what shelters are like? They're dangerous. They're dehumanizing. You can't sleep because you're afraid someone will steal your shoes. You have to be out by 7 a.m., regardless of weather. You're treated like you're invisible, or worse, like you're a problem to be solved. I tried to get into subsidized housing. The waiting list was 18 months. I tried to get help from social services. The programs are so underfunded, so overwhelmed, that unless you're literally dying on the street, you're low priority. I finally bought the Honda Civic for $800 from a guy off Craigslist. It had 240,000 miles on it, and the check engine light is permanently on, but it runs. I sleep in the back seat in parking lots. Planet Fitness parking lots are good, 24 hours, well lit. Walmart lots. Sometimes church parking lots, though they'll usually ask you to leave. I shower at the Planet Fitness. I have a $10 a month membership that I protect like it's gold because staying clean is the difference between being invisible and being harassed. I eat mostly from food banks, dollar store crackers, gas station hot dogs when I have a few extra dollars. My son Michael, he's a high school principal now, makes decent money, has 3 kids. I looked him up on Facebook. He looks happy. I see pictures of him coaching his daughter's soccer team, having family dinners, taking his wife on date nights. He's living the life I should have lived. I thought about reaching out. I even typed out a message once. I'm sorry, I was wrong about everything. But I couldn't send it. What would I even be asking for? Forgiveness? Money? A place to stay? After everything I did, after all the years I told him his choices were worthless, after I picked deals over him again and again, I deleted the message. Sarah got married again, to a man who actually showed up this time, I assume. She has 2 kids, twins. I've never met them. My own grandchildren, and they don't know I exist. And whose fault is that? Sometimes at night, when I'm lying in the back of my Civic and my back is screaming and my hands are throbbing and I can't get warm no matter how many blankets I pile on, I think about what I'd give to go back. Not to be rich again. I'd give anything to go back to 1996 and get on that plane to my daughter's wedding. To go back to 1989 and tell Michael I'm proud of him for wanting to teach. To go back to any random Tuesday in 1995 and just come home for dinner and be present with Patricia instead of reviewing contracts. I'd give all $4 million for one of those moments back. And that's not an exaggeration. I'd give every cent I ever made for one more dinner with my family where they actually wanted me there. But you can't buy back time. You can't buy back relationships. You can't buy back the moments you missed. Money is the only thing you can lose and make again. Everything else, once it's gone, it's gone. Here's what I need you to hear. I see you. I see you working 60-hour weeks to afford a house you're never in. I see you missing your kid's recital for a meeting. I see you snapping at your spouse because you're stressed about hitting your numbers. I see you telling yourself, just a few more years, and I'm doing this for them. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you, for your ego, for your idea of success, for some imagined future version of yourself that will finally be happy when you hit the next milestone. That version doesn't exist. The finish line keeps moving. There's always another promotion, another deal, another dollar to chase. And one day you'll be 78 years old, and you'll realize that you spent your whole life preparing for a future that never came, and you missed the only life you actually had. I had millions, actual millions. I could have retired at 55 and lived comfortably on the interest. But I didn't because I wanted more. I always wanted more. More money, more properties, more proof that I was successful. And now I have nothing. Not because I lost the money. Lots of people lose money and rebuild their lives. I have nothing because I lost the people. And I lost the people because I treated them like they'd always be there, like they were background characters in my story about becoming rich. They weren't background characters. They were the whole point. And I missed it. You know what's funny? Not funny, haha, but funny in a way that makes you want to scream? The happiest I've been in 20 years was last week. I was at the library, and a kid, maybe 9 years old, was struggling with his math homework. His grandmother was with him, but she couldn't help. I used to be good at math, built a whole business on numbers. So I asked if I could help, and for 45 minutes I sat with this kid and helped him understand fractions. And when he got it, when his face lit up and he said, "Oh, I get it now," that felt better than any deal I ever closed, better than any commission check, better than buying my first Mercedes, because I was actually present. I was actually contributing something real to another human being. I wasn't performing success. I was just being useful, being human. That's what I lost. That's what I traded for money. The chance to be present, the chance to be useful in ways that matter, the chance to be loved, not for what I could provide, but for who I was. Listen to me. Your children don't want your money. They want you. Your spouse doesn't want a bigger house. They want you to look at them the way you look at your phone. Your parents aren't going to be around forever, and they don't care about your salary. They just want you to call. I know you think you have time. I know you think you're different, that you can balance it all, that you'll make time for what matters after you reach whatever goal you're chasing. You won't. The goal will move, and the time will run out. I'm 78 years old, sleeping in a car, with no family, no home, and $127 in my bank account. And I'd trade places with you in a heartbeat. Not because you have more money than me, you probably don't have much, but because you still have time. You still have people who love you. You still have chances to make different choices. Please, I'm begging you, don't do what I did. That promotion you're chasing, it won't make you happy. The bigger house, you won't feel different inside it. The extra money, it won't fill the holes you're trying to fill. You know what will? Showing up, being present, putting your phone down during dinner, going to the recital even though you're tired, calling your parents just to talk, telling your spouse you love them and meaning it, playing with your kids when they ask instead of saying later, because later might not come, or later might come when they've stopped asking. I lost everything, and the only things I miss are the things I never had enough of in the first place: time, presence, connection, love. Don't let this be you. Don't be 78 and alone and full of regret, wishing you could go back and make different choices. Make them now, today, right now before you finish this video. Call someone you love. Tell them you love them. Make time for something that matters. Choose presence over productivity. Choose people over profit. Because I'm living proof. You can have all the money in the world and still end up with nothing. And you can lose all the money in the world and realize that's not what mattered anyway. I'm Robert. I'm 78. I'm homeless. And I'm running out of time to make this right. But you're not. You still have time. Please don't waste it the way I did. If this means something to you, share it. Maybe it'll reach someone who needs to hear it. Maybe it'll save someone from making my mistakes. And if you're estranged from someone you love because of pride or money or old hurts, call them. Today. Right now. Don't wait. Don't let your story end like mine. The clock is ticking. For all of us. What are you going to do with your time?